Most people, when they talk about the origins of economic thought, usually immediately think of Adam Smith, Karl Marx, or, for those who paid a bit more attention, Aristotle. But when you look a little closer at the Middle Ages, there is another story that is often overlooked, a reality that rarely appears in Western historical narratives. Around 1,000 years ago, long before capitalism existed, and even before central banks were a thing, a Muslim thinker delivered a warning that we still remember during times of crisis today. He argued that when money loses its moral dimension, societies begin to decay from within, and from today's perspective, it almost feels like he understood us better than we understand ourselves. Welcome to the history of finance, the place where money, power, and history intertwine. And here, things are never as simple as they seem. To understand al-Ghazali, one of the most important figures of the Islamic Golden Age, you need to picture a world that is both familiar and somewhat foreign. The time is around the 1100s. Europe is fragmented, poor, and still trying to recover from the difficult periods of the early Middle Ages. In contrast, the Islamic world stretches from Andalusia to Iran and is highly vibrant. Cities like Baghdad, Damascus, and Cairo are major centers of both trade and knowledge. Trade routes are constantly active. Caravans carrying silk, spices, textiles, and silver move back and forth. On one side, scholars discuss philosophy, law, astronomy, and medicine. On the other, markets never stop. Wealth is increasing, societies are changing. But the transformation is so rapid that no one fully understands what is happening. It is in such an environment that Abu Hamid al-Ghazali emerges, a philosopher, jurist, theologian, and also a powerful critic, someone who seems capable of reading both the spiritual world and the economic order at the same time. Born in 1058 in Iran, he quickly rises through the academic ranks. By his 30s, he has already reached one of the most prestigious positions in the scholarly world. But what makes him different is not his position, it is his willingness to question what is happening around him. He sees a world where wealth is rapidly increasing, yet people are becoming internally dissatisfied. A society that is outwardly richer, but losing its sense of meaning from within. The parallel with today is not hard to see. Al-Ghazali asks a simple but powerful question. What happens when a society becomes wealthier without becoming wiser? To understand this, he turns his attention to money. This is where many people are surprised because Al-Ghazali is not just a religious thinker. He is one of the early figures to analyze money from both moral and social perspectives. While Aristotle viewed money as a practical tool, and modern economics treats it through numbers and models, Al-Ghazali looks at how money shapes human behavior. Because money is not just a means of exchange, it is something that influences decisions, trust, and even the direction of society itself. For him, money is neither something to be worshipped nor simply something to hoard. It is just a tool. He even compares money to a mirror. A mirror has no value on its own. Its value comes from what it reflects. Money is the same. Its real value lies in what is produced, what is exchanged, and how people cooperate through it. This idea feels very familiar today, but at the time it was quite an advanced perspective. Al-Ghazali wrote this in the 11th century when most of Europe still viewed wealth mainly as land or loot. From this, he draws a very clear conclusion. Hoarded money is dead money. In other words, money that does not circulate and does not enter the economy is not only useless but also harmful. It does not support production, does not stimulate trade, and does not benefit people. It slows down the entire economic system. He compares it to the stopping of blood circulation in a body. This perspective even resembles modern debates on inequality. But Al-Ghazali is not simply complaining that the rich hold onto money. His argument is more systematic. When money does not circulate, artificial scarcity emerges in the market. This distorts prices, destabilizes balance, and harms everyone. Another important point is speculation. He is strongly critical of those who manipulate prices and profit from crises. For him, this is not intelligence, it is moral corruption. Profiting from others' suffering corrodes the system from within. And this corruption gradually spreads everywhere, to markets, institutions, and society itself. From today's perspective, it resembles financial crises, yet these ideas were written 900 years ago. Al-Ghazali is not against profit. He is not against trade or markets. His concern is honesty, lies, fraud, misinformation, and fake measurements. Because for markets to function, only one thing is necessary: trust. Once trust disappears, the economy slowly begins to collapse. He explains concepts that modern economics describes as information asymmetry, risk, and similar ideas, but in much simpler language. He also places great importance on labor. He values income earned through work, while seeing unearned wealth as something that corrupts the individual. He is also critical of state intervention in the economy. In his time, rulers would sometimes debase currency to cover budget deficits. Al-Ghazali sees this as injustice, because manipulating the value of money harms ordinary people the most and destroys trust. The role of the state, in his view, is not to distort the economy, but to protect it. Another key point is that what happens at the top affects everything below. If rulers are dishonest, merchants become dishonest too. When institutions decay, individuals follow. The conclusion is simple: a society can survive poverty, but it cannot survive injustice. Economies usually do not collapse because money runs out, but because trust disappears. Money is, in a sense, a belief system. Once people stop believing in it, the system stops working. Al-Ghazali also understands human nature well. People accumulate out of fear, speculate out of greed, and normalize cheating when everyone else does it. That is why the solution is not only economic, but also behavioral, changing incentives and human motivations. Wealth without ethics is not sustainable. Wealth cannot be an end in itself. A society remains strong as long as it balances production and exploitation. When that balance breaks, things gradually fall apart. Looking at today, his words feel surprisingly familiar. Inequality, debt, inflation, speculation, loss of trust. Technology has changed, but human nature has not. If Al-Ghazali were alive today, he would probably say, without justice, prosperity does not last. Economies do not fail because numbers stop adding up, but because people stop trusting each other. When money becomes detached from morality, the system eventually breaks. History does not repeat itself exactly. But if you fail to learn from it, it can still catch you in the same place.